Welcome to Manifest This Believer versus Skeptic. I'm Sharon Giroux, your resident skeptic who asks all the tough questions. And with me is Jennifer Neal, our manifesting maestro. Whether you're rolling your eyes or raising your vibration, we dive into all things manifestation, mindset, and energy from every side. Hit subscribe, settle in, and get ready for spirited debates, surprising experiments, and laughter on the journey to creating a life you love. Welcome to Manifest This Believer versus Skeptic. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Jen. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thanks. So, today we're going to talk about the order of visualization, why your life feels chaotic, and how to change it. And it's all based on a book called Your Invisible Power. So, Jen, I think you're pretty excited about this one.
I am because, the penny kind of dropped for me the other day that this book has been so pivotal. Many books have been pivotal in my journey of an unbelievable life. But the problem with some of these books is they've been written in 1921 and the vocabulary and the language is so not today that, it's hard to wrap your head around. So I'm excited to modernize these ideas for today's audience because they are, if you can start to grasp them and study them, they will change your life.
Well, and that's fantastic because I think you and I have talked about changing direction a little bit and really going back to the first principle of I need an owner's manual. I need
Yeah.
to know how to do what we're doing. And I think that's what we're focusing on from the last podcast. And we're moving forward today with that as well. So,
Yeah.
why don't you start us off?
So I want to start right at the beginning, chapter one of this book. And the whole idea of chapter one is that there's this subtle idea that it's subtle, but it has massive consequences if you really let this land. So most people think their problem is that they don't have what they want yet, right? They still are focused on that they don't have the money, they don't have the clarity, they don't have the relationships, or they don't have the help. But what the real problem is it isn't what you don't have. The problem is that your mind is out of order.
Okay. Okay, hang on a second. I'm already pausing there because I would think a lot of people, including me sometimes, would say, of course, my mind is out of order. I'm busy. My life is busy. My mind is busy. And all that I think is normal. So, what do you mean by your mind is out of order?
I mean this, your thoughts aren't aligned in one direction, okay? They're scattered. And I think we can all relate to that a little bit. Before we got on the phone or on this meeting, I said, I've got this to do and that to do and this to do. You think about what you want when it comes to what we want in our life. We think about what we want and then immediately, most of us, think about why it won't happen or why we can't have it. You feel hopeful 1 minute and then anxious 5 minutes later for whatever reason. Or you start something, a thought process around something you really want, but then you start to second guess it.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I feel that in my life every so often, and every so often, then I'll have you in my head. I think that's probably a normal day for most people.
Well, it is. And as we stated in the last podcast, which I would really encourage people to kind of start with that one because most people don't have what they want because they are ill prepared. They will not spend the time to get better at doing this. And it's just like any skill. You can learn this. So, what chapter one teaches us of this book, Your Invisible Power, is this that state isn't neutral, it is creative.
Okay, so that's interesting. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that because I think people think of that as just, being human. Neutral is just human.
So let's talk about one specific line that she mentions in chapter one. The line is that hurry is fear.
Oh, okay. So hurry isn't to go quickly because I usually associate, hurrying along with productivity.
Right. But think about it. When you feel calm and certain, you aren't rushing. You're usually not scrambling and you're not trying to control everything. When you feel calm and certain, there's a knowing there.
Okay, that's true. Sure.
But when you feel like you have to figure everything out right now, and I don't care whether we're talking about hurrying with our physical body or hurrying with our mental mind, if you're constantly trying to figure things out right now, or you're worrying about how things won't work out, or you feel like you're always behind the eight ball, that is fear running the show.
Okay, so oftentimes when you ask people how they're doing, they say busy. Like there's people in our lives we know always busy, always busy, always busy. So what we're calling busy sounds like often it's just, I don't know, maybe anxiety in motion.
Well, many times it is. It's also becomes a part of people's identity. So we know that.
Okay, fair.
But here's why this matters, this idea of hurry is fear, because that state is shaping your life.
Okay, how does that state shape my life?
Because your mind in that state of hurry slash fear is constantly scanning to prove itself right. It's constantly scanning for problems. It's reinforcing, I don't have enough. It is replaying what is not working. And that becomes the pattern you live inside of.
Okay, so I'm going to pause here for a minute and think about this because when I am replaying what's not working, often what I'm replaying is what are like plan A, plan B, and plan C. So are you telling me that that pattern of making backup plans because those backup plans are in anticipation of things not working out is a pattern I'm living in?
1000%. Why would you have a backup plan if what you wanted was plan A? This is where the scattered,
Wow. Okay, my
right?
mind's being blown right now.
This is why the scatteredness is not helping you. If you want plan A, why would you even consider plan B or plan C? Because if you stay with plan A with faith and belief in a calm, clear way, it'll knock you on the nose in the morning. Okay. So this is why I really want to move into visualization. And I promise you this will all tie together by the time we're done.
Okay,
This is where visualization becomes very important.
okay, so where does visualization come in? Because most people think of that as just like imagining your dream life and doing a vision board. And, to me, it often, and I'm playing the skeptic here, it often sounds very flaky.
Well, it's flaky for those that don't know how to use this, and that those have a place. But where I really want to go here is I think we need to redefine what visualization is.
Okay.
Okay. Visualization isn't about fantasy, it's about order. And
Okay.
the more you hone in on the thing you want, which is why boards are helpful if you use them properly, they help you hone in on specificity. And that is about order so that the universe knows in what order to bring you things.
Okay. I need more explanation on that.
Okay. When you deliberately create a clear mental picture, not a fuzzy one, plan A, plan B, plan C is fuzzy. Does that make sense to you?
Well, it does now.
Right.
I
So
just think
if you,
I'm being, careful, cautious, ready for anything.
right. And this will make sense as we go through this series. But if you have three plans because you don't trust, you don't believe, and you have doubt, the universe, which is this beautiful, creative stuff, it doesn't know where to go. It's like, oh, she wants me there. She wants me there. I don't know where to land. So if we deliberately hold a clear mental picture, I want plan A, and we hold it, your thoughts stop being scattered and they start organizing around an image. And all this creative stuff that we are living in, we are breathing it in, starts to have a place to land.
Okay, so instead of bouncing between all the different possibilities, you're really directing and focusing your attention.
And when your attention becomes focused, think about, remember when you were a little kid and you used to put was it a piece of glass under the sun
Yeah.
and it would magnify the sun and you could burn a leaf underneath it? If you kept moving that glass from side to side, the sun would catch it at some point, but it never would have enough power to burn that leaf,
Okay.
right? So when your attention becomes that focused, just like the sun on the glass, your decisions will become clearer. Your behavior will become more aligned. You will start to notice opportunities that you would have missed before.
Okay, so it's not just the universe is delivering something to me.
It's trying. It's trying so hard, but you keep moving. You're bouncing that focus all over the place.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So It's not just delivering something, it's your entire internal system becoming calibrated to one thing.
Okay, but I think here's where people can get skeptical. Like, again, this can sound like you're magically trying to change reality.
You're not changing reality though. You're working with how it already works. It's already there.
Okay, how about something? Give me something concrete about that.
Okay, let's talk about flight. They talk about airplane discovery and invention a lot in these books because when they were written, airplanes didn't exist.
Okay.
The laws required for flying an airplane have never changed. Can we agree on that?
You mean even before an
Gravity.
airplane was created?
Yes. Was gravity created when an airplane was invented? Exactly. Was wood created the day an airplane was invented? Exactly. So we always had the lift, the speed, the aerodynamics, the raw resources were already here. They were already here.
Okay, so the physical requirements for flight existed.
Exactly. Everywhere.
Okay.
Somebody just understood the laws and applied them. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. I can see how this analogy is working. So you're saying that this is the same thing, but applied to our minds.
Yes. So you are not forcing life. You are not forcing plan A. You are aligning with the principles that already exist to be able to see and bring in A.
Okay. So let's bring it back to the person who's listening.
Okay.
What's actually doing the work here?
It's the power of the image you hold. So that's why I said, I promise this will all come together. But visualization is a massive piece. It is the piece. It's the power of the image you hold.
Okay. So you're saying the image, not thoughts? Are thoughts different from the image?
Thoughts matter, but images are more powerful because your brain responds to images as if they are real. It doesn't know the difference between something imagined and something concrete. It doesn't know, which is why your Olympic athletes are constantly visualizing the end of the race because their brain doesn't know the difference.
So if I keep imagining that things are going to go wrong,
Then that
then
becomes your internal blueprint. And then you start making decisions from that place.
so even if I consciously want something better. So if I take that athlete analogy and
Yep.
I want to get on the podium, but
Yep.
I don't spend any time mentally imagining standing on that podium, then the likelihood of that happen has been reduced is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes. And if you think about your earlier comment about plan A, plan B, plan C, if
Right.
plan A is to win the race, but plan B is, well, maybe I could come in second. Or even if I brought home the bronze, I'd still bring it home for my country. You just came off plan A so fast.
Right.
So, what you consistently picture has more influence than what you occasionally want. Does that make sense?
Well, it's a little confronting.
I told you it was going to be, but it's also empowering. Don't you see that? Because it means that you can change it.
Okay, so what actually happens what happens when someone actually practices this?
Their mind becomes calmer
Okay, so you keep coming back to the calm, and I find that interesting.
because that's the first shift. When your mind is in an orderly way, you are not chasing anymore. You are not reacting anymore. And you're not constantly checking for results all the time.
So the urgency, that busy we talked about earlier, that starts to drop off.
Yes, eventually, if you practice this enough, because there will become a time where looking at it and looking at it again and looking at it again and looking at it again and looking at it again. And I know this sounds repetitive, but it is repetitive. There will come a point during that practice where a knowing will drop in. I promise you it will. And
Okay.
before anything external changes, you will start to change how you feel inside and you will start to change how you show up. And that becomes the attraction point.
Okay, and so that changes how you move in the world.
Right. So here's some practical application.
Okay, let's make this real because, if someone's listening and thinking, "I wanna try this and I wanna try and do it properly," what do you have to do?
Okay, so let's start simple. And we talked about this last week, but we're going to talk about it again.
Okay.
I want you to pick one thing.
Oof, not everything?
No, that's part of the problem. Too many decisions, no order.
Okay,
We
got
want
it.
remember that sun on the glass.
Right.
We're focused on one thing, okay? I need you to create a clear mental picture of it. And if you struggle with that, because I do, if you struggle to see it mentally, as I said last week, take my hint, go into Pinterest, find it, pull up the serial number, the color, the size, whatever it is, pull it up. And if it's a result you're looking for, pull up an image that signifies that result for you.
Okay.
And a little sidebar here with AI, you can practically put your body in any end outcome. So we won't get into that today, but there's some really fun and creative ways you can do this. But I want you to get a clear picture, whether it's in your mind or on Pinterest or on a picture or on a vision board, one thing.
So
And
so
yeah,
it's sort of like a scene, right? So it's what we talked about in terms of creating your own algorithm that keeps bringing you back to the same thing every time, whether you're looking on your refrigerator and there's a picture, or you pick up your phone and it's part of your screenshot, or you go into Pinterest and you see all the pictures surrounding it, right? So
yes.
we're
Remember
building
this.
our own algorithm.
Yes, we are. And remember, this is a test. So doesn't matter what it is. I'll give you an example. On Friday, I wanted a dress. I couldn't get the dress. It was out of production. Couldn't get the dress. Couldn't get the dress. But I knew the dress. I pumped it up in Pinterest and then I kept looking at it on different people in different scenarios with different hairstyles, different models. And then Pinterest started to get to know me. And when I opened Pinterest up on Saturday, there was the dress, and there was the dress, and there was the dress, and there was the dress. And then on Sunday, when I opened up Pinterest, there was the dress available for resale in my size, and I bought it.
Unbelievable.
It is, but it will become believable. But you've got to practice it. And I need you to get something so easy to find for your test that it's something you can return to easily. And then throughout the day, I want you to go back to it and back to it and look at it and look at it. You're going to need to put effort into this. This is the only part, but it's fun.
Okay. All right. So, and what you're saying is as we train our minds over time, it's a default.
Yeah, that is what I want. And that is all I want. I'm not looking at other options. I don't want plan B of the dress. That is exactly what I want. You are training your mind to hold in one direction. So this is when things start to shift.
Okay. Got it.
So, I guess in wrapping this whole idea up, because we're going to spoon feed this, here's the foundation of this chapter. And again, I highly encourage you to read it, but it is really hard to digest sometimes. Visualization isn't about dreaming. It is about bringing your mind into order with the one thing that you want.
And when your mind is ordered, your life starts to follow.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we've got some homework, folks, and I'll be joining along. Um, Jennifer, what do you think we should talk about for our next episode?
We are going to go through this book with a spoon. So we're going to dive deeper into how you actually can visualize. I've already given you a few of my tips already, but we're going to do it. I'm going to relay to all of our listeners deeper into how to actually visualize in a way that actually works.
Fantastic. Okay, Jen, thanks for your time, and thanks, listeners, for tuning in. We're here pretty much every single week. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Manifest This, Believer versus Skeptic. If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it with a friend, believer or skeptic. And don't forget to leave us a review so others can join in the debate. Plus, check out Jennifer's TikTok account, Manifestation RX, where she writes daily prescriptions for manifesting your dreams. Think practical tips with a dash of magic. We love hearing your questions and stories, so tell us what you're manifesting or questioning this week. Until next time, keep an open mind and maybe manifest